Hey guys, this is Killrob speaking, and today we are going to continue our work on the Countess Run Simulator. Yes, well, episode 11, it looks like, and currently, let me check, we are 22 hours into the process. And today's episode will be about, let's take a quick look. We do need to move on because the UI that we see on screen is done. It's working pretty well, apart from maybe the hover-over sound, which I will change eventually. But other than that, it's really nice. Gives good feedback, looks great. And today I think we're going to start with actually making these two mode selects do the proper thing, as in switch out this UI, which requires a mode switch in the UI manager. And then we will have to transition via the simulate button to the results modes. That's a little scary, but at least we do have all the UI elements that are needed in place already, even for the results page apart from this one. But maybe we can make the basic one work, like mode 1. Rather mode 2 in here, just number of runs, that mode in results mode. That would be fantastic, although it might take a little longer because I need to set up several result rooms because they have different background images, and I don't want to make one big clusterfuck of a room which has too many switches. That might be too scary for little Killrob. But anyway, so let's start first trying to figure out how to best switch this out depending on which mode you are in for the runs. And what does that require? Well, select runes is the mode we see here right now. This is perfect for the select runes. And the number of runs should just deactivate all the plus and minus buttons and remove all the numbers. I think that all the numbers, as in these numbers for the runes, but still have the cubing option for them. Yes, I think that would be what we need to do. Maybe we even want to move those buttons to this place. Although then the tooltip wouldn't cover them. That might be a good option. Oh, it looks a little empty then, I guess. We keep them there so that the selection looks good. When you just switch mode, it's just the middle section here deactivating, and you still have the same functionality. And we have the gap in between here of the brighter background to still separate them. Let's see what it looks like. All right, stop talking, get working. I'm currently staring at this, and I think we might get away with not switching out the buttons at all, but just the text and then what we are writing to, which variables we are writing to for this button. That is the number of runs plus minus. And they would be in the same position. All of that would be in the same position. And then we can just have a check in here. Where is it? Is it the runs? I think it's the runs. Yeah, that looks about right. It's down there in the Y direction. That can be... I think if we just put an if there for which mode we are in, because I do have... let's see, what did we call them in the step function here, where we check all the buttons? We do have the simulation mode 1 and simulation mode 2 for select runes and number of runs button. Those are the big ones at the side. Let me show you. Oh, there, it's still... Oh, no, it's still up here. Let's run the program. Okay, so select runes, number of runs. These are the two modes. And I think I get away with just changing out these two numbers, which ones are drawn, and then which one is actually increased or decreased when I'm when I'm clicking these buttons. So maybe that's the easiest way forward from here. That would require the least amount of change. We don't have to destroy any objects, which would be these buttons. I could do that. Like, that would be a little I don't know. Would it be cleaner? Not really. It's a little messy to go about and construct and destruct all kinds of new objects just because you're switching a mode. If you reuse the existing ones on screen, it's kind of neat. So yes, let me just try to switch this one out to repetitions, and the number to the actual repetition, currently saved repetition number from the settings object. Okay, here we have the first implementation. That will still be buggy. Yeah, I already know of a bug. And that is if you switch modes. Oh. Oh, and actually... No. Oh, that was weird. Okay. That was weird. That's another bug. But if you switch modes, it doesn't recheck if it should activate the button. So you need to click one. Oh, and it doesn't even activate that one. Yeah, so when you switch the button, I need to make sure that these buttons are checked for if they should be activated or deactivated. That's something I haven't done. Also, this was a little weird. I need to reinvestigate that by relaunching it and checking what actually happened. Was there the wrong text on there? Let me see. So we start with repetitions, and that's wrong. Oh yeah, it should not start with repetitions down there. So simulation mode isn't properly set, is what that tells me. Because there's an else statement governing this. And it's not 1, which would be this mode. Which would be this mode, which the repetitions belongs to. So I need to set simulation mode on construction. Okay, I think this does it. So whenever this button is clicked, the number of runs, main selection button, then it just sets the plus minus buttons to mode 1, which means both are allowed, and then after setting them to 1, it checks, like, are you actually supposed to be 1? Hello there. Number of repetitions, yes. And if one of them isn't, because there are only 2 states, if the index is 0 or 10, the maximum, then one of them needs to be deactivated. Sounds easy enough. Okay, let's see if that all works. I doubt it. So, this is still... Whoa! Now, what was going on there? That was not normal behavior. Some weird numbers were read. That needs to change. Okay, try again. So, we started at 100. I pressed the minus button, and we're at 500. Okay, there's something going wrong with the indices. The first showing of the wrong number when I press the minus button isn't fixed, but now at least these buttons are working as intended, as I can switch mode, it switches out everything, and it takes on the correct state for the other mode. Okay, just building, and now it should be good. Yes, it shows repetitions 1000, that's the standard. And this is working. Switching over, yes, it activates. Let's see if that also works correctly. Yep, this is all working now, okay. Debugged, it's finished. Was such a small thing, really, but just look at the additional logic and code you need. Just to make this little thing happen. UI manager. Not there, but rather in the step check function event. So if... yes. This is now for the 2 modes. Just for those plus minus buttons. As you see here. So this is just the minus button, and this is the plus button on top of that. It's not really difficult or anything, but there's so many things to keep track of. Okay, so now I'm making 3 different rooms. Our start room has now been renamed into the setup room, and then we have the results runs. Wait a second, what's going on here? Did I select the wrong one? No, this is still working. Oh, I'm just zoomed out? Well, that is the easiest bug fix ever. Yes, I was just zoomed out for whatever reason. There we go. Now we can see it. Okay, so I'm having some different rooms. This one needs to be not the setup room, but rather this one with the 1 bar. And this one, the results repetitions one, needs to be with the double bar. And now I have to think, how do we want to manage the objects in there? I think the settings object needs to be a permanent object that is created in the setup room but stays everywhere. And the data manager, that's the same thing, right? That is supposed to stay and be with you in all the rooms. So what I need to do here is keep the setup room the same, but I need to change these objects to be persistent. Yeah, it's just a flag in here, so that should be there. There's the persistent flag. So the settings one, RM setup. Oh. Right, so where do you set this? Was it by object or was it in a room? You can make rooms. Ah, there's the objects. Yes, persistent. There. Okay, we need to have the settings persistent and we need to have our data persistent. Oh, always scary to rename objects. But we haven't used this one as reference anywhere, so that was fine. It would be a different story for the data manager and the settings. I would then have to change all the names. But no, this is fine. So now we are going to have it such that the UI manager is not a persistent object, but rather I'm going to have different versions of the UI manager depending on which room I'm in. And the only thing that gets created on entering those rooms is the UI manager for that room, using the same objects, the persistent objects, for the various data and the settings. I think that should work out just fine. So much logic. So much logic. Too much for little Kirob's brain. So I made a new variable. Or right now I'm trying to figure out what needs to happen when you actually hit the simulate button. And I think there needs to be a ready to run variable that checks if you've actually selected any runes that you need for when you are in simulation mode 1, which is the rune selection mode. And if you have not selected any runes, then the simulation button should be deactivated. And I'm just running through a few loops here and see what all that entails. For instance, whenever you increase or decrease a rune count, it should either by default set it ready to run, or check via a loop through all runes if the ready to run flag can still be set or not, or if it needs to be set to false if the total number of runes required that you have chosen is 0. So yeah, all that kind of fun, just to avoid bugs, because you never know what happens. Probably someone hits the big red button and the world blows up if that bug happens, or Diablo comes to the world and makes looting fun again. Anyway, let's continue. Okay, let's see. So we started here with a grayed out simulate button, which is great, because this shouldn't be the case that we can run a simulation in this mode. Simulate, yes, it turns on. And does it turn off again? Yay, it's working. It is working. Very good. And now if we switch it. No. No. Okay, on switch we need to change the ready to run flag as well, and then this works, I guess. Yeah, it should. Okay, another go. Yes. but fuck, it doesn't deactivate again. Ah, noob programming in action. Okay, another try. So, simulate, and deactivates again. So that's good. So now we are in select number of runes mode in this one. And if we add one, we could start. If we decrease, yay, it's turning off again. Perfect, okay. So that is working. And it's not even crashing when we click it now. Yay! It's good. So, next thing, oh, that's scary. The scary part, changing the main UI here for the various modes. And then I also need to make sure, that's it's a little stupid. Because of how I created all these things, I think I need to copy over some data. When this button is clicked, I need to copy over data from these settings, all these settings, to the actual settings object. Because currently they are at least partially stored in the UI manager, which at that point would be thrown out, or not even active anymore. It would be deactivated because we're moving into another room. So yeah, that needs to be fixed. Okay, maybe this is working. See, so I haven't destroyed this stuff. Good, that's still working. It shows the number of repetitions here. So now let's switch modes. Oh, that worked. Everything is switched off. Now let's see, does it come back? So let's have 6 runes there. Switch mode. Switch back. Was it still there? Was it this one? Let's make it all the way at the end, just so that I'm sure that I'm not confusing indices. There. Yes! It's working! Look at this beautiful, beautiful artwork. And even the minus stuff here is being activated correctly. Yeah! It's just like switching modes. Awesome! I'm really happy with this. Didn't even have to debug anything. Just works first time. That's how programming is supposed to be. Alright, so once the button is clicked, the simulate button, I will now copy over to a new object or new array in the settings object. The current data for the required runes and the rune cubing settings, and just call them cubing final. And then we are ready to switch room, because I think we then have all the information, and then I can just build it from there. Yes, I hope that works, because then a new object, which is then created, can just ask the settings, yo, settings. What was the setting from my colleague here, my manager setup thing? What was going on with that one? Yeah, it knows then, so it can tell it. And thus display the UI correctly. Because there, on the results page, there is some... there are the boxes for the cubing, after all. They are grayed out, but they are there. And they need to be displayed correctly. And here we go. I corrected this little bug here. It's not in air quotes. Air quotes, no actual quotes, but so room switching is now a thing. It's very empty over there, but if we select 150 or 250 runs, a few cubings, and simulate, yes, we're in the other room. And now that one needs to be built from scratch. Nah, not really. I'm just going to copy the UI manager over and basically only delete everything that we don't need. I don't think that would be too bad. It should be very, very similar in all aspects that don't have to be deleted. But before I copy over shit, let me clean this up, because this is a mess. There are no comments here, there's no structure to it, it's just slapped in there. So a little bit of cleanup and commenting would be good before I copy this object, duplicate this object and reuse it for some other shit. Whew, alright, I think I have ripped out everything that is not needed and added the logic, the extra logic for this object to construct what is required. Also, I've set the buttons slightly differently and turned out to be a very good thing that I have differentiated between the mode and the actual image that is shown. So what I can do here now is to actually deactivate the buttons on the side, but still show them as like selected, and that makes sense. I guess if this works, let's see. There was a lot of code that I had to write and rip out, so that might not work. Yeah, it might not work. It does not work. Let me fix the few bugs here. Oh, nom. Oh, pancakes. Oh, awesome. And bugs, not so awesome. But yeah, I forgot that I also not only have to rip out all the stuff from the creation event, but also from the draw event, because that is now calling lots of data and objects that just don't exist in this version of the UI. Should be simple enough, but just tedious work. Go through and pull out everything and hope that you don't pull out the good stuff. Oh wow, that was difficult. Oh, without the pancakes I wouldn't have been able to do it. Look at it. How much care I had to take. The exit button is the only thing that remains. Very good. That makes logic easy. I like tools like this, where there's only one button that works. I think we do need to have another button in there though. One that doesn't exist in the other one, and that would be a button that resets. Like aborts the simulation and resets, brings you back to the main room. That should be simple enough, but for now we just give you no escape. I mean, your blood will boil and stuff, right? Okay, now I'm through all of the UI, and I believe that with this change, like in the what is drawn on screen, I left a lot of things open, but the important bit here is that, of course, the rune numbers are going to be displayed, but I switched it out from required runes to actual rune inventory in the data manager. And that variable is already being used by our spacebar activation, and I've now set it to 10 runs, so should we give it a go and see if it crashes? If it doesn't, then we might be able to see our first runs in the UI. Okay, so far it hasn't crashed. Hololol. Okay. We are in hell difficulty, yes, good. And you can't click anything here. These are just the selections. So now what happens if I press the spacebar? Nothing. Nothing. Okay, why does nothing happen? I don't like nothing. Nothing! This is nothing! Damn it. Well, that was strange. The rune inventory was a two-dimensional array. I don't get why I needed that back when I made it, but that might be the reason for why it wasn't showing anything, because it was just not able to address it correctly. Oh, let's try again. This one. Oh, but we are in normal difficulty here. So if I press simulate, does it still have normal? Yes, it does. Okay. So, no, still doesn't work. Damn it, spacebar. Start working, please. Okay. Well, if I have the wrong number there, it was 1. That is our rune selection mode. But then it just can't work, can it? Because it never got into the if statement of actually showing the shit. Simple fix. So, does it work now? No! Now it crashes. Programming. And it was not programming, but it was rather kill Rob. Pirate R. Because it was rune inventory, not runes inventory. Also, I was displaying the wrong thing. I was displaying the required runes instead of the actual rune inventory. So, double bug detected and eliminated. So now, will we get another crash? Or will it work? We shall find out in the next episode. No, wait a sec. Okay. No crash? No, crash when I press. Fuck! What now? Another scare of stupidity. I need to ask for the rune inventory in the data manager, not within the UI manager. Will we get it? Will we get it now? Come on. Come on. Number of runes, simulate, and spacebar. Yes! It's working. It is working. We did it. This was 10 runs. So if I just continue pressing space, we just find more and more. That's looking great. Come on, find a higher rune. There we go. Oh, we found a pool rune after like 100 runs or something. Can I just hold the spacebar? Nah, it doesn't allow that. I have to continuously click. Oh, there's a high rune. Whoa, we found an ist rune. That's pretty cool. Anyway, as you can see, that was a pretty big step today towards making this one, this work. Lots of UI changes and more importantly, a fundamental step towards getting the results going. Now we have a basis we can work with. Just fill in the stats here and make this bottom section work for this one. And once we have all that done, we can copy that over to this mode. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's all working. It is working. But the selection here isn't properly copying over. I will have to check on that. That's just a bug. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed and see you guys next time.